Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and yes, I'm waiting for round 2 of the NHL playoffs. Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks, and I've chosen my team, as I have since 1979. Glad to have you all with us. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection are here, and we're going to have a great time with Keith tonight. I hope all of you will as well, as we say hello to Mothman and his goatee in the gold medal position. Woo-poo with a silver medal. Race fan taking home a bronze medal tonight. Hi there, Andrew, the trucker extraordinaire. Good to see you again, my friend. Deb Stir, James Horn, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship. Woo am I? How are you all? Lisa C, Puck Elf, Jeff Steve Garvey. He'll hit a home run for you. Deer Slayer and David Blaylock, welcome to the show tonight. Hi, Eternity Eternal. Charles Kerr, how you doing? Charles Kerr will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Carrot in the Woo Train, nice to see you. Hi, Toe Tag and Chatbot Marco. Good to have you both here as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Brown Dwarf, Y2K, 2MI, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And Vanessa, thanks for coming on in. Human Carl is here, a great veteran of the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, Human Carl. We love you around here. Raymond L., good to have you here. Jessica S., nice to see you. Phyllis Boucher Perry, nice to have you here. T-Bone, my man, how you doing? Hi, John Lamb, what's happening? Continuing on with our roll call tonight. There's number 76 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. All right, good morning, Lars. Continuing on here, Christine Lynn. And who's next on our list? It's Aaron Baca. Thank you for joining us. Paul Demon. Little Cam over on Twitch just got out of the gym after doing leg crunches 258 times. Yep, W. David Page. Skip to Malou, good morning to you. And Sweet Donna C. Thanks for coming on in. Hi, Aloha Dave and Pam Harris. Lone Wanderer, how you been doing? And Carrie Pruitt. Carrie Pruitt will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Beelzebrad has a devil put aside for me. How you doing, buddy? And B, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Gamer Quest. Freya, baby, welcome to SOR chat. Spirit Fox, what's happening? Davey Crotch Kick, how you been doing, man? Where have you been hiding? Good to see you back. Oh, maybe we should turn this light on tonight, see how that goes. Woo, there we go. Didn't improve much. Hi, Derek Cook. How's our race team doing? Digger Dog, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call tonight. I want to remind you the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And if you're a Canucks fan, you got to pay double. Just putting it out there. Yeah. Because we're taking you down in 6 games. 6 games. Michael Fontaine, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with roll call. Hi, Mary R. You're looking lovely tonight. Let's hit radio. So, hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott as we are talking Everything Extraterrestrial with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. We are in roll call right now, waiting for Bill WD-40 to enter the chat room and lube us up for tonight's show. Because he hasn't lubed us up for a couple of nights. So we're hoping tonight we get some extra lube. Wild Barry, nice to see you. Lee the Bee, good to have you here. Thank you, John Lamb. It's a winning baseball cap. The Edmonton Oilers. Going into round 2 against them, stinking no good, ought to be tossed out of the NHL, Vancouver Canucks, who are my second favorite team. Yeah, but got to stick with my Oilers, man. Got to stick with my Oilers. All right. Still waiting for Bill. Don't know where he is. Hey, don't forget you can do some shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it out. All right, let's see if red, green, blue. Let's go with red. Okay, here we go. Horns up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, and we're very thankful for you tuning us on in to feel the woo with us. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show coming at you for tonight. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues with learning all about our extraterrestrial friends. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it as well. Then, in hour number 3, we are going to get into Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. Nicole Sackage fills us in on the UFO court. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a great time. R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection is a show we do here each and every month on Spaced Out Radio. Why? Well, because we love it when Keith is here. It's one of our highest rated programs where Keith gets into all things extraterrestrial, the connections between humans and aliens, the UFOs, how long they've been here, their history, the species. It's a little bit of all. Keith is someone who is a lifelong experiencer who now helps counsel those who are having their own experiences themselves. So tonight, if you are in our YouTube chat room, do us a favor, put your questions in capital letters because we do this show a little bit differently than we do each and every one. And on that note, let us say hello to our good friend, R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith, it's so good to absolutely have you back here on Spaced Out Radio. It looks like you're frozen up there, my friend. You know what's weird about Keith is before the show starts, we will actually have him and I having a conversation. And his connection is absolutely perfect. Yet every time I hit the go button, he seems to freeze up. I don't get it. I don't get why it's like that each and every show. But it is what it is. And we will get to Keith here momentarily. You know, there's a lot of news coming on about UFOs and alien species. A lot of people talking about it these days. And we want to know what your connection is because that's what we do. That's what we want to experience. Because I'm a firm believer that we have to share each other's stories. We have to. Why? Because if we don't, then we're not going to get any closer. Look, the government's going to do their job. They're going to do everything to keep this story out of the public eye. It doesn't matter whether they're talking UAPs or NHI or any other acronym that they have. All right. they're going to keep the story from us. So we have to talk to the people who are experiencing it themselves, much like you, much like me, and many others out there. Even if you're not an experiencer, it's always good to kind of keep your eyes to the sky because you never know what you're going to see. The big question that a lot of us have is what is ours and what is theirs? You see, there is many different types of aircraft that are flying through the sky at night because the sky provides an awesome camouflage. And there are many craft that I'm sure that we have all seen that we think are UFOs, but really are not. They are actually built by places like Lockheed Martin at Skunk Works, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, and other companies in the aviation industry. They all want those billion-dollar contracts. That's how they make their money. That's how they go out there and employ tens of thousands of people in the defense industry in the United States and around the world. Do we know what it's all about? No. No, we don't. But we're going to say hello to Mr. R Keith Andrews as soon as he loads up. And we're going to have a good time with Keith tonight because that's what we do. And Keith is so knowledgeable when it comes to the questions at hand. Keith, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Fine, but the connection on this end is a little sketchy.
Well, the funny part about it is I always say to our audience, Keith, you and I will have an absolutely clear connection until I hit the live stream button. And then all of a sudden,
yep,
your connection goes haywire. I don't know why that happens.
I cannot tell you that. I'm going to back up from the computer a bit and see if that helps. We have discovered it with no question. I get too close to the computer, it scrambles signals. We found that out the hard or the easy way. I did.
Well,
overall, not doing bad though.
Good. And I'm very excited to see you again next week as you will be coming to Reno, Nevada for the 3rd annual SOR fan party. And Keith, I know you being a fan favorite around here, there's a lot of our listeners who are very excited to see you and meet you and finally get a chance to talk to you face to face. And I know that means a lot to you.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. I mean, honestly, I don't see myself as anything special. But I keep getting told otherwise, so I figure as long as I'm okay with it, it really isn't going to hurt.
I know you don't get out very much.
The fact is, I don't even leave my house very much.
No, I know. And this is a big moment. And, I mean, I haven't seen you in a couple of years since literally before COVID. And I'm excited to see you, my man. I mean, it's been way too long. I mean, for people who are wondering, like Keith and I live about 4.5 hours apart driving distance. And, he lives in the beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia. And, it doesn't seem that far, but with everyday life and everything, a 4.5 hour trip to say hello is kind of tough sometimes. But we love you around here, man.
No, I appreciate that. And I mean, I've been trying for the last 2 years, but of course, with lockdown, I couldn't get across the border. So have I been interested in coming down to it? Absolutely. This time it's all booked, it's all paid for. So on Wednesday, I fly out of here.
Yeah, I'm very excited about our weekend ahead too, because I always like seeing the fans. I always like seeing our special guests like yourself coming on down and hanging out with us. It really is a meaningful event. And Keith, you always get a lot of questions from our audience, and we'll get to them here momentarily. But there's been a lot of news recently regarding USOs, which is unidentified underwater sea objects. Seems to be a real high concentration of knowledge on this. We talk a lot about UFOs with you, but what do you know about USOs?
Essentially, they're the same thing. Don't get me wrong. The difference is the UFOs are ones that have set down and or set up bases underwater. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're from here. Because I always separate the two groups into off-worlders or aliens from somewhere else, and the ancient races, which are the ones that evolved here. But just because they came from another planet does not mean they have to be on the surface of the Earth. But why we've got so much attention at this point on them, I really don't know.
Well, I want to ask you, I mean, out of all the experiences that you have had recently or over the years, and the amount of times you've been taken, have you ever been taken to an underwater base?
Oh, absolutely. That was how I found out that that what you would possibly call sea elves are very real. There is an entire civilization at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, but mankind only has technology to get to the silt barrier. But if you ever watched the show Abyss, you know the blue liquid that the star coughs out, that stuff is actually real. That was literally built by them in order to get humans down so they could deal with them. And admittedly, they turned around and took an idea from humans on how to make it happen. Because they're underwater breathers, when they started the abduction process, they grab a human, take him into the water, and for some weird reason, you get them, they complain that they were getting abducted, and then they quit complaining about, a minute and a half underwater if you're lucky. And of course, by the time they get them down below, people are just not much in a talking mood. Something about drowning on the way down.
Yeah, drowning kind of sucks. Let's just be honest.
It does. I've been there, done that. Was not an enjoyable experience. No, I didn't drown in their hands.
Okay, so when you're down there, do they allow you to look under the sea? Do they keep you away from the wind?
No, I've seen a fair chunk of what's down there. Can't prove it. And of course, it doesn't matter what you tell people. Humans seem to be very into this thing. Well, where's your proof? The proof comes about 30 years down the road. But I mean, some of the creatures that people are down there, people just would not believe. But there are other humanoid races down there. Like, for instance, the people you call mermen, or that you call sirens. These are real people. They are not just a myth. Most of what we know of what humans use in the way of mythology or in the way of fairy tales and what have you are actually based in real life. They're based on real events, on real individuals that they run into.
Right. I get that. And, I apologize for people listening in. I had your microphone way too cranked and it was coming out very hot, but that's okay. We've turned things down now. We'll make things a little bit easier on the ears for all of us. So, Keith, we got a couple questions from our audience. We're going to kick things off here. And we're going to start off with Thought Criminal over on X, who is asking, Keith, do you know if the Consortium has a technology advanced enough to allow the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup this century? Let's hope not.
Well, technically the answer is yes. Sad to say they won't. Sporting events in some circles are even more important than legal events. And, therefore the off-worlders will not make that happen. However, I will tell you this. If the fans get behind them enough and the Maple Leafs actually take the added energy, they could pull an upset and make it happen.
I disagree.
Now,
I'm putting all my energy into that not happening.
Oh, I know, and I can tell you, I know of a few people that are going absolutely against you, but myself, I was amazed with the game today. It's the first game I've actually watched in, 20 years? Right. I was amazed there wasn't actually a fight during it, which is why I gave up watching in the first place. But I am not what you would call a hockey fan, as you well know.
Don't worry about it, Keith. Don't worry about it. We will make sure that we put as much energy into the Leaf fan not getting that Stanley Cup ring. Sorry, Leaf fan. I'm an Oilers fan. What can I say? All right. Let's go to another question. Lone Wanderer is asking Keith. Hey, Keith, do you have any hypnosis video recommendations to help unlock suppressed memories? Further to that, true or false memories can be altered or planted?
Okay, number one, I don't know which video you use, but where it comes to self-hypnosis, that's the easy thing. Find a comfortable place, to sit down. Do this when you're wide awake or you get a great night's sleep. But you find a real comfortable place to sit, relax, close your eyes, and just concentrate on your heartbeat. Don't look for anything else. Okay? But let your mind go. As you make sure you put a pad of paper in front of you. So you just relax and let your mind wander. Write down anything you see and that you recall, even if you think it's your imagination. Okay, write it down and make sure you date the thing, because what happens is you do this a few times, you'll pick up more and more information. Now, let your imagination tell you that's all it is. But watch for the corroboration in other people you talk to. As far as can memories be replaced? Absolutely. And many times I've seen professional hypnotherapists accidentally plant a memory, because unfortunately it can be done extremely easily. To plant a memory, all it takes, for instance, is when you're starting to try and describe something and the hypnotherapist goes, well, does the person have long hair or do they have short hair? That simple question is a leading question. Right now, you've got the potentiality for a false memory. It's a real tricky situation, and most hypnotherapists have no clue that they're doing it. So I'm not going to fault them for it.
All right, let's go to another question here from our audience. And let's go over to, let's take a look here. Let's go to Mr. Reality. Do you think demons or other entities pretend to be aliens for abductions or encounters?
No, but they don't correct the misunderstanding. A demon, and more to the point, a daemon. Demons are a construct, as in they are built by the churches. Daemons are another issue altogether, and they won't bother trying to disguise themselves. But humans keep assuming that they're an alien, and they just don't correct the thought. I mean, technically they're an alien because they're not from Earth, but they don't disguise themselves. At least not that I've ever seen.
Looking at our chat room, Millennium in our chat room is chanting, "Go Leafs, go" here. Come on, Millennium. How much dust is on your lawn chair that's been sitting on Yonge Street the last 30 years? Let's just be honest. People listening, you're going to hear a lot of hockey snark tonight and for the next couple weeks.
Probably.
Yes. It's just the way it is. This is just the way it goes during the playoffs. Stanley Cup's on the line here, man. All right, let's go to another question here, Keith. This one from Celia. Hello, Celia. Welcome to our chat room. Any idea what a long plane trail looking line in the sky that slowly rotated around like a clock hand could be? It lasted about 15 minutes in the night sky last week. It's good sighting.
That is good sighting. I'm just trying to get pictured in my head what we're referring to. Because it sounds like you're talking about...
I would assume that she had, obviously, potentially a UFO sighting, that seemed to, rotate around in a circle like a clock hand.
I'd be inclined to say, depending on the... Now, if it was a smoke trail, the one ship that I know of that would do that, and when I saw it, it did it. It just didn't have smoke coming out. But if there was a Mobian ship up there that had been damaged by whatever reason, they do tend to sit in one spot and spin. Okay, more often and did she say it was clockwise or counterclockwise?
Didn't say. And Keith is frozen up there for a quick second. But, this is...
Okay.
There you are. We got you back.
The Mobians do when they're taking surveillance of a place, do tend to spin.
What would be the purpose of spinning around? Wouldn't that make it for a little bit easier for people like Celia to see this?
They're not overly, and that particular race isn't overly concerned about it. They're from Earth originally. But more importantly, their technology is such that they don't have a scanner system that is omnidirectional. They still use a monodirectional intake. So therefore they spin to get the full picture. Which is, albeit, extremely archaic. But that would be the biggest problem you have there.
All right. As the questions continue to warm up, we got about 90 seconds left. Keith, there are so many people seeing things in the sky that we don't really understand here. I'm curious about, how do we tell whether or not something in the sky is ours or theirs?
Sad to say, unless you are extremely well versed in electronics and in Terran modern technology, essentially you don't. Because mankind has reverse engineered a number of their vehicles, but they don't operate under the same way and they don't operate with the same power source. So from a visual standpoint, the odds of spotting the difference are not good.
And it's getting harder and harder the more advanced that we become.
Exactly. Now, of course, there are some people that if you happen to be able to see energy, you can tell the difference in the engine signatures, which would be an easier way of spotting it. If that makes any sense.
It does. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection are continuing tonight on Spaced Out Radio. And, of course, we love taking audience questions. So if you're in our YouTube chat room or listening on X or Twitch, you can find us right there. Type your questions in capital letters and we will get them to Keith. The ET Connection on Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. My name is Dave Scott. Always love bringing this hot topic of fun to you each and every night. Hi, Magnolia. How you doing? Hope you're safe from the flooding. Scrub-a-dub-dub. How you doing? Good to see you. And am I missing anybody? I am Pam, by the way. I am Pam. If the side of the TR3B is equivalent to 2 times the side minus 1/2 times 2, how many games until Edmonton is eliminated? We're not getting eliminated this year, Just Min. We are hoisting Lord Stanley's Holy Grail. I am Pam. And that's all I'm going to say. Try to bring mathematics into this. I am Pam. Dry Toast, how are you? A little bit embarrassing here. I woke up with a zit on my cheek this morning. Like, seriously, I'm 50 years old. You know, I'll be 51 in 3 weeks. Got a goddamn zit on my cheek. The
And
hell
you're
is
young,
that?
Frog.
The hell
It's
is
just
that?
going to show you're still young.
Oh, I understand that. Now, that was San Jose, who only won 19 games this season. They were terrible.
Yeah, but if it weren't for them losing that many games, the other people couldn't have won them.
I know. Dave, you live in BC. Don't you have to cheer for the Canucks? I have been an Edmonton Oilers fan since 1979. I'm already arguing with Merle online about this.
Yeah, I get a kick out of that, Dave. You're in BC, so you're supposed to vote for the Canucks. I'm in BC, and I don't vote for any of them.
Oh, I like the Canucks. Don't get me wrong. I like the Canucks. But Oilers.
I got nothing against. I'm just a firm believer that as long as somebody wins by 1 point, we're good.
All right. Well, let's see. Am I missing any questions?
Probably.
Yeah. No, I got them all marked so far. I am Pam. Totally, I am Pam. There we go. Now maybe I can see.
We're going into a very different realm today.
All right. We got about 90 seconds, Keith.
Yeah, no problem. I'm here.
I'm here too.
Yeah, it seems my backing up from the computer was a good move.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know,
No kidding.
it was funny on my show the other day. I made the comment that it seems that I get too close to the computer, it scrambles it. And one of my mods pipes up and goes, "What do you mean it seems? We've got concrete proof of it." You know.
All right, Keith, hold on right there. Thank you to Freya, T-Bone, and Charles, and now W. Decker for the amazing super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support, everybody. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. Hi, beautiful Kira, Ross Lambda. Good to see you guys. And we're going to go here in about 20 seconds. I am Pam. Here we go, the second half hour, Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening out there on our terrestrial affiliates. And we love it that you tune us in each and every night. Also, if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith, thank you so much for being here once again.
Well, thank you for having me, and do appreciate it.
All right.
Now, I tell you, if it weren't for the questions, I couldn't do this at all.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here, my man. And let's go over to Lone Wanderer. Is needing sleep with your bedroom door locked to get a good night's sleep a sign of being taken by aliens? I have odd memories, but I worry it's just old nightmares.
Well, we'll start with the issue of locking the door has little to nothing to do with aliens. There are so many, literally millions of people that will lock their door, close their closet doors, and close their windows, and the only reason for it is because there's too much extra noise coming out. Yeah, it may simply be that is the most likely problem. There are not that many inductions that take place. So no, I would not mark that as an indicator at all.
Could it not be, though, that
one thing you may be dealing with is past life memories?
Keith, let me ask you this in regards to that, because I sleep with my door open. And at night, my partner says that she sees things standing in the doorway to the hall. And for some reason, they can't come in, but usually a couple times a week, she will wake up in the middle of the night and have visions of these weird-looking beings standing in the doorway. Keith, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, Dave, I only got about half the words in that.
Okay.
Only probably right now I can hear you fine, but with that soliloquy you just did.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Then my partner, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, because we have our door open, she will see beings, ones that she's never really seen before, hanging out in the doorway, but they can't seem to cross into our bedroom. Your thoughts?
Well, number one, you likely have a barrier already around your doorway. Okay. Besides that, you do have an advantage. What you're not aware of is there's a conduit there's a corridor in your house that it literally will go through. But it's literally all she's doing is seeing them pass by. the odds are they're not even seeing the fact your bedroom door is there, never mind open.
All right.
My suspicion is that you've got a vortex there.
There you go. What?
My suspicion is you've got a vortex, an access portal.
All right, let's go to Aloha Dave down in Mexico, who is asking, Keith, do you have implants from aliens? Could that be causing the glitches in our connection today?
At this point, technically it could be. I haven't had an implant in me in 40 years. They tried putting one in about 10 years ago, and it ended up shorting out in one heck of a hurry. But no, the problem with the connection is something that's plagued me since I was electrocuted with an EEG machine. It completely scrambled the entire biomagnetic flux.
All right, let us head to another question here from our audience. Woo-Poo is asking, Keith Andrews in the house, take a bow, best pork chop sideburns in North America. Gotta love it. They love the sideburns, Keith. How do you keep them so healthy?
I've always had them that way. I think it's genetic, maybe. I know I keep them primarily. I think it's because my father had them until a week before he died. And I just swore I wasn't getting rid of them. I've had to tidy them up a bit from time to time, but unlike most people, I don't have some sort of a routine for it.
All right, let's get to another one here. Let's go to Super Crazy. Are there any alien species that would like to destroy us and take over our planet for their own purposes?
Technically, the answer is yes. Not going to happen. There are a lot of safeguards in regards to stopping that from happening. But the Zeron would be more than happy to take over Earth. Except the Consortium won't let them. That and the fact that we are right now discussing things with the Zeron High Command to explain to them why wiping out biological life forms is a bad idea. See, the problem with the Zeron is that they are robotic, but they literally think that they're better than the bionomes. Unfortunately, they rely on nature's innovation to come up with new forms and to evolve their own. Meaning, wiping out the bionomes is a bad move. But they're having trouble understanding that a bio can actually explain that for them. Other than that, no. The Teklek would love to, but they're having a civil war over that decision. And of course, between the Consortium, the Stratosians, and the civil war going on, Teklek is actually a video of a pair of them in the New York subway somewhere on YouTube. He showed a couple of these guys running through the subways. Beautiful, brilliant picture of it. Where you would find it, how you would find it, I have no idea.
All right, let's go to another question here, Keith. And let's go to Reality, who is asking, what is the molten slag that falls off certain UFOs since the 1940s? And why does it even happen?
That, unfortunately, that molten slag more often than not is essentially solidified sludge from our atmosphere. See, when some of the ships go through the atmosphere, they ionize their hull. simply by going through the atmosphere. It's just a natural side effect. And then they get a bunch of buildup. But a quick little reverse magnetic pulse clears the whole thing. Or I don't know if I want to call it magnetic, but it's an energy pulse that they use to just basically shunt the slag off it. Otherwise, it slows the ship down.
All right, let's
Nothing
continue
like
on.
motion acting as a deterrent.
Celia is asking, dreams where I am able to perceive my own thoughts and feelings and others at the same time. Many times I am someone else, usually human, but still know it's me. Memories of past lives, life reviews here, Keith. What's your thoughts?
High probability Lemurian ancestry, as in past life. Lemurians were connected via the neural net. There were only a few that survived. And it is quite possible that you're carrying some of that memory with you, because that was a way of life for us back then. You know, the entire human race, the entire population of 10 billion plus was connected. Where if we wanted to talk to somebody in what you would call Australia, we didn't use technology. And the Mobians, who we were talking about earlier, are literally, they were the Lemurians 50,000 years ago. They colonized Mobius on the other side of Earth, on the other side of the sun, rather. Same orbit as Earth. And they literally were human originally. They evolved and took off. And about 10,000 years after they took off, the Lemurian Empire made a mistake, and based on curiosity and a real lack of forethought, wiped out an entire civilization overnight. And no, it wasn't war. You could chalk it up to accidental mass suicide, but it wasn't a war.
All right, let's move on here, my friend, as we continue on with R Keith Andrews and the ET connection. Let's go to Millennium, who is asking, what species of ETs are the blue-tinged aliens that whistleblower Jason Sands says he interacted with? Now, this is very similar to the ET that you saw at a conference a number of years ago, Keith, with the bluish gray type skin, very light colored.
Yeah. The one I was seeing, that was a Palladian hybrid. I know the ones he's talking about. I'm in the middle of going through the notes I've got, because my first thought when you're dealing with a bluish colored alien, usually that's the Aldebaranians. Okay, basically humanoid, but they've got a very skin color close to my shirt. Little on the elongated, it's like their features are a little bit on the elongated side. You know, kind of like they've been stretched a little. I suspect that's who we're referring to. And I think they're in my in-book too. Because it's book one. I don't think the Aldebarans are in this one. No. They'll be in book two. But I suspect that's who they're talking about.
All right, let's go over to Super Crazy here. Do you think any of us alive today will one day get to see open alien contact broadcast on TV, the internet, etc.?
Well, first of all, you already have. Second of all, of the people, the age of the people in this stream or listening in, the odds are pretty slim. It is possible that the little people that are under 10 years old may get to see it. Okay, but it won't be, at that point, it won't be a mass awareness, if you will. Okay, at that point, you're likely looking at just the occasional straggler, the occasional pioneer, if you will. But I wouldn't be expecting anything substantial for another 100 years.
Why so
Politely
long?
put, mankind isn't ready for it. Mankind hasn't changed their attitude towards people, towards immigrants and different races. I've got concrete proof in my grandmother's autobiography that people are still treating aliens and immigrants the same way that they did 100 years ago. Okay, so you bring in somebody. I mean, you think about it. What are you going to do if you see a reptilian, 7.5, 8.5 feet tall, armored to the gills and loaded for bear? People aren't going to relax well. And this is the biggest problem. Or how about we go to the other end of the scale and take a look at one of your button mushrooms and watch one of those guys get up and walk off your table? This isn't going to go well as far as people's nerves go. But humans are not socially evolved enough to adapt, to be willing to adapt to that far off the beaten path, as it were. And therefore, they've got to be very cautious.
All right, let's move on to another question. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection, continuing on here tonight. And let's go next to Woo. R Keith, you have said the Galactic Consortium oversees our galaxy and can't interfere with human life. Why then do thousands get abducted by negative aliens? Wouldn't the Galactic Consortium stop that?
Well, two major factors. One is not they can't, it's they won't. And two, the abduction process, humans see it as negative. The Zeta Reticulans, who are responsible for the majority of the hybridization program, are simply scientists doing exactly the same thing that humans are doing to their own animals, as in tigers, ducks, seals, you name it. Humans abduct them, take fluid samples, tag them, and put them back. Okay. Now, granted, some of their methodologies, the vegans, for instance, would absolutely come across as a negative entity. But the majority of it, humans fear the unknown, and you have been taught to fear everything that doesn't add up to your view. Net result, everybody that does something to humans on the whole are considered evil or considered negative. Whereas in reality, the Zeta Reticulans, the massive majority of them, are simply scientists working on a hybridization program in order to facilitate first contact. Yes, it would be nice if they would ask, but how many humans, if they were asked, we'd like to take some samples of your DNA and we'd like to take we'd like to get some data from you. Do you mind if we take you off world? How many realistically do you figure would actually say yes?
Probably not many.
But if you flip that around, humans don't ask tigers if they can abduct them. And rest assured, tigers are a whole lot less happy than humans are.
Very true. Very true. All right, Keith, let's go to another question here. Let's go to Celia, as we got about 5 minutes to go before we go to break at the top of the hour. R Keith Andrews of the ET Connection continues here on the SOR. Can Gaia, Earth's consciousness, communicate telepathically in English or other human languages to individuals? What are planetary species called also?
Absolutely she can. She does all the time. You know her as Gaia. Some people know her as Mother Nature. I know her as Itza, since that's what she introduced herself to me as. But yeah, she absolutely can communicate, not only in English, but in every language known to man, and a whole pile that aren't.
Is she all part of the phenomena?
Part of which phenomena?
Just the earthly phenomena of weird stuff.
Oh, she is she's the mother of the whole 9 yards of it, or at least they see her that way. She herself was built first, and then the others were put on top. She's what you would call a surrogate mother to all life on Earth.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's sneak in another question here. Let's go to Ross Lambda. Are Zayrons an AI ET race faction?
An AI ET race faction, they're an entire race of their own. Okay, and AI doesn't even begin. What we call AI is an advanced computer program. They are literally sentient, and they are a sentient race. And they literally construct. They literally, they don't reproduce like humans do. They literally rebuild new kids. But quite often they will take them in the pattern of a binome in order to get an idea of something different. Like humans, the Zeron desire for their children to be better than they were. And I should clarify that's the majority of humans. There are some that are jealous of their own kids.
All right.
Ultimately, that's how that works.
All right, Keith, we got 2 minutes. Let's move on. Let's go to W. Decker here, who is asking, in a lucid dream, I asked to make contact. I was taken deep below the ocean where there were rows and columns of red fish-like creatures with human faces staring back at me. Have you heard of those?
I've heard of them. I've seen them. I would have to look through my notes and see what I've got on them. But there are a lot of animals that fit that, they look like fish. Okay. They are probably, and I'm just going to go out on a limb in a sense, they are probably directly connected to the whalen, which are what you would know as mermen. Okay, but there are a lot of sentient races down there. Sentient, even by human standards. They just don't do things the way humans do them.
Can we sneak in one more?
Should be able to.
Let's go to Arcane Observer. Is there any truth to the idea that we live in a 4-dimensional fluidic reality?
In my opinion, absolutely zero. See, from everything I've seen, anything you sense on Earth, anything you sense in this dimension is all 3-dimensional. Some of it vibrates at a different level, which can mimic moving to a different dimension because it vibrates faster and disappears on you. But humans' limited mentality will interpret that as going to another dimension. All they're doing is moving faster than the eye can see as their eyepiece together.
I love it. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to head off to a break here at the top of the hour. It's R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection hanging out on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's always good to have Keith come in to bring the woo train right past this stop that we call Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis. Keith will also be attending our Reno event for this 3rd annual SOR fan party next week in Reno, Nevada. Spaced Out Radio Hour number 2 is next. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Keith, I'm going to put you in the green room. I'm just going to step away for a minute. We'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Be right back. right. No dirty filth tonight. He's probably stretching for game 1 right now between the Oilers and Canucks. Big thank you tonight to Freya, T-Bone with a hat trick, Charles W. Decker, and Puck Elf for the super chats. G-Mac, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. I did cut my hair long time ago. I am Pam. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag there. We're always adding more. I am Pam. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, and we appreciate you tuning us in. And our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Admanusence. Admanusence is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Now, R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues on the mighty SOR as we are hanging on out, talking all things extraterrestrial. Keith, thank you so much for being here tonight. We very much always appreciate you taking the time for us.
Definitely appreciate being here. Love the questions that come in. You never know where they're going to come from.
I know, and they're awesome. Let's start off with Wildberry, who has a pair of questions. Do we know if cloud seeding has alternate motives to do with other beings?
Well, that depends on who you're calling the other beings. Most of the cloud seeding is being done by humans trying for a first generation atmospheric generator. But they got to play around with it to figure out how it works. However, they are going about it, shall we say, in a bit of a backward thought process. There are, however, counteragents being brought down by other races to stabilize, to make sure that Earth itself does not get damaged.
Okay, let's move on to another one from Wildberry. Did lead paint have anything to do with connecting to others? Oh, my goodness. Lead
Well,
paint.
technically, in as much as peyote did, as in if you poison a system well enough, you're going to have quite literally hallucinations. And ultimately, lead paint was a bad idea that they didn't know better than.
All right, let's move on. Let's go over to Steve Franchise. R. Keith, were the pyramids built by humans or non-human intelligences?
Well, I could be rather nasty and say yes. But no, everything I know about them, humans built them. They were built under the instruction and under the guidance of the Ennead, which is an off-world race. They were the Egyptian, what the Egyptians called gods. But It was humans that built them. They just had instruction, that's all.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go over to Wildberry once again. I had a deja vu today of my dream last night. How do we explain deja vu?
It's a remnant of something every human is born with. That being literally clairvoyant, clairsentience, also known as clear knowing. In other words, you saw the event before it occurred, and then when you caught up to it, you realized you'd seen it. Net result, you have deja vu. And literally everybody is born with it. It's just by the time you're 4 or 5 years old, most humans train their kids not to trust it. And if it makes you feel any better, most races teach their kids that.
All right, let's continue.
But that's
on.
all deja vu is.
And here I thought it was more of a psychic episode of prediction or premonition.
Well, ultimately it is. Psychic being qualified as something that goes outside the 5 standard senses. Okay, precognition is literally pre-knowing. So you catch a glimpse of the future, and then if you don't realize you caught a glimpse of the future, precogs, as in somebody that is comfortable with precognition, will realize they're looking at an event coming forward. If you're just doing it naturally, without any guidance and no awareness, you'll see the event happen, not register it happened. And then when you catch up to the event, now it becomes an issue of, oh, deja vu, I've seen that before. Okay, so ultimately, yeah, it is the higher senses kicking in. It's just the difference between knowing they're kicking in and having them kick in unbeknownst to you.
Continuing on here, let's go to Thought Criminal over on X, asking, does the Consortium have teleportation technology like in Star Trek?
No, theirs is much more advanced. Sorry. Ultimately, the answer would be yes. And you will be happy to know that mankind is you may not be happy to know. Mankind is currently working on literally that kind of equipment. I've actually seen the floor. Somebody sent me the information, or more to the point, sent me a photograph of one part of it. Okay, so yeah, does the Consortium have it? Yes, and a number of other things, not the least of which is wormhole navigation technology. But before anybody jumps on, no, even the Consortium won't go through a black hole. At least not live through it.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's head over to Celia. Have you heard of the Mandela effect, where human anatomy has changed in collective memory, but officially always been like it is? Example, human heart used to be on the left, but is now centered. If so, what do you think's going on?
Well, I've heard of the Mandela effect. I haven't actually looked much into it, to be honest. But humans are evolving. There's no question there. As far as the changing position of the heart, I haven't studied human anatomy that much, but as near as I've been able to piece together, it ultimately boils down to humans on the whole have been born with the heart on the left, the right, or in the middle, and it just depends on what you're working with as to which variation took dominant hold. Because you got to remember, they actually operate very differently. when you've got when you move the blood flow over to the left side, over to the right side of the body, it actually changes the thinking process. Simply because the method of oxygenation and thereby cognitive evolution becomes a different genome altogether. But you'll notice that most humans in today's world they literally congregate because they all essentially think in the same fashion. Backwards, but the same fashion. So did they have a heart elsewhere? Humans used to have 3 hearts. No, my apologies. They used to have 2 hearts, 3 lungs. But because of the way they evolved, they didn't hang on to them. Now, do understand, before somebody goes there, I am talking about before modern man started recording history.
Let's continue on, Keith, as we continue with questions from our audience here. Let us go over to Super Crazy, who is asking, Keith, do advanced alien races eat meat, or is it frowned upon?
Well, that would be yes. In other words, some of them eat meat, some of them frown upon it, and some of them can't digest it. But the flip side of that goes as well. Some alien races eat vegetables, some frown upon it, and others can't handle it at all. So, I mean, you're talking think about it. We are talking about a minimum that I'm aware of 2,500 members in the consortium. But what you're asking about is, do animals on Earth eat meat or do they frown upon it? The variations are just way too high.
What kind of variations?
Makes sense?
Yeah, what kind of variations?
You broke off completely.
What kind of variations, Keith?
Well, what we're talking about is dietary preference. Depending on the species, when you're talking aliens, you may as well be talking animals on Earth, matter plants on Earth. Okay, there are so many different species, so many different digestive tracts and taste buds that there's no way to give a definitive answer. I'm guessing I keep dropping out.
No, we got you. All right, let's go to another question here, Keith, from Celia. Would any ET race accidentally telepathically overwhelm a person intentionally, or the receiver just became overwhelmed on their own? What are your thoughts? And Keith is frozen up here a little bit. We'll wait for him to reconnect here momentarily. I think all the beings, and we'll get Keith to answer this here as well when his computer smartens up. I do believe that aliens do telepathically communicate. And I think it's overwhelming because we're not used to that type of mental communication for those of us who've had it. You know, because people who claim to have ET contact, they rarely see the mouth move, especially on the grays. And, you know, this is something that I believe that the overwhelming part is purely human. Keith, Celia's question is, would any ET race accidentally telepathically overwhelm a person intentionally, or the receiver just became overwhelmed on their own? What are your thoughts? And Keith is frozen up again. We'll give it a minute here. But yes, I think that we get so scared in our own pants, you know, trying to get some sort of answer as to what's going on. And when we see things that are unrealistic, it puts us almost in an anxiety panic attack. Keith, your thoughts? We're trying to reconnect here. He's having some internet issues right now. R Keith Andrews in the ET connection, and we will bring him back momentarily. But the telepathy part of everything is something that totally intrigues me. Like, how do they have the ability to communicate in the English language? That's what I want to know. You would think that unless they have been here or there are other species out there somewhere communicating in human languages, I don't understand how they can come here and speak to us. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I can understand if I look at it from a fantastical point of view. I can understand that maybe they've picked up on our language from the signals that we have sent out the last few thousand years, especially in the last 200. We'll see if we can get Keith to answer that. R Keith, or do we have a good connection now? Can you hear us, Keith?
Can you try this one more time?
Yeah, can you hear us, Keith? Do we have you? All right, Keith. I think you got us now. Your computer seems to be doing a little bit better. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
I have heard pieced together the question because you got it written there.
All right. I'll let you answer Celia's question then.
Number one, can they accidentally overwhelm people? Absolutely, they can. Okay. And it's literally accidental. It's just their wavelength is higher than humans are used to dealing with. Now, every human is capable of telepathic communication, but they don't have the strength of a qualified telepath. Net result, too much information, too fast, and it does throw them off track. But it is clearly not intentional. You know, the nice part is people can learn to adapt to it.
All right, let's move on to another question here, Keith. Continuing with telepathy, Aloha Dave is asking.
Sure.
We all have the ability, just need to learn how to turn it on or come by it naturally. How does this work? How do we do this?
Well, you first of all study number one, you start working with a partner is your easiest way. Okay, and literally test your ability with them. Start with simple things. The easiest and just get the one person to hold up the deck. There is a set of cards that you can get with the star, the wavy line, the square, circle, this sort of thing. But standard playing cards work fine. Now, ultimately, it boils down to taking a look at getting the one person to take a look at the card. Just the color. Just get that where 75% of your cards are right.
And Keith got booted. Yeah, telepathy is one of those things that just absolutely amazes me. Do I think we have the ability to do it? I don't know. I really don't know if we do or not. I would like to believe that we can. And I know there's been tests on it. Some people have claimed success, others have not. But if we tap into our mind deep enough, can we actually communicate? I mean, it's one thing to feel, because I do believe in the psychic ability where you can actually feel things, but can we actually
I tell you.
connect and have that conversation? That's what I'm not sure of. All right, Keith, we got you back here. Let's go to another question here, Keith, for you. And let's go to Super Crazy is asking, do most average Joe aliens from advanced civilizations have access to spacecraft for interstellar travel, just like humans have access to automobiles for family road trips, etc.?
No. Well, correction. They've got access to them, but they don't have clearance to come to a developing planet. In other words, if you're asking if aliens can come, like to Earth, for instance, just as an outing, just as a camping trip, they don't get clearance to go there. The people that come here are either cleared for scientific research or education. So yes, you will find schools coming here. Okay, as in little children brought on a bus, as it were. But the average Joe alien
Yeah, I apologize for Keith having troubles with his computer tonight. Not sure what's up with his connection tonight. We will try and get him back here momentarily. That is an interesting question, though, by Super Crazy. Do any extraterrestrial species have like a family UFO? A family spacecraft that they could go venture off into the universe and check out whatever planetary system that they want to, or moon, or asteroid, or meteor. That's interesting. And if they are just the scientists and explorers, much like we had in the oceans going back hundreds of years ago, are they just doing the same with a team of explorers trying to find us, see what we're all about? That could be a possibility too. Right? I mean, this is everything that we need to try and figure out here, as we got about a minute to go in this half hour with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith, I don't know what's with your connection tonight, but we're getting there. We're getting through.
I don't know. I do know when I get done with this trip to Reno, the first thing I'm going to be doing is upgrading my entire computer system.
Yeah. I don't blame you for that, my man.
Hopefully that'll do something.
I don't blame you for that. So appreciate that. I don't know if we have time for one more question. I know we got plenty of questions to come in until the top of the hour. But for you, do you ever look at this subject and just say, this is way too far out there, man?
Oh, only about every other minute. I literally sit here going, is my imagination just on overdrive, or am I seeing way more than what other people are seeing? And the only way I can answer that is I keep getting corroborating evidence that what I'm seeing has a backbone to it. So I just gave up and went, no.
All right. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Just a reminder to everybody out there, I am Pam. And for my wrenches, I don't care if somebody's a regular or not. If we see passive-aggressive comments towards our guests, like our good friend from New Zealand, okay, just erase it and give them a warning. I don't do passive-aggressive crap like that. And I know you're listening, Puck Elf. All right, be nice. Be nice. Tane, how you doing? Keith, are you still with us? Oh, yeah, you're moving.
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. Oddly enough, I can hear you clearly right now. You fire up the stream again, and all of a sudden we got an interesting problem.
Which browser are you using? Are you using Microsoft?
I'm using Google.
Weird. And are you directly plugged into your modem?
No, because I've got, that's one of the other things I'm going to be doing. But I've got to get somebody to run about a 50-foot cable the length of my house to do that.
That's probably
so
why.
I've either got to pin it down the hallway and bring it in, or punch a hole through 2 walls.
Yeah, that's probably why you're cutting out. Is your Wi-Fi is cutting out on it.
See, I've got a booster right outside this door, but clearly that ain't doing any good.
No. Do you have any other windows open right now? Hey, Brian Stavely, how you doing? Like, are you running any other programs right now outside of this one?
Outside of that one, I've got
outside of StreamYard,
Microsoft Word up in the background, and other than that, no. But that being said, I've had the same problem with nothing on, but the show. Fact of the matter is, technology and I have argued for my entire life.
Yeah. All right, we got about a couple minutes left. All right, let's see where we are here. Possible snow in Reno tomorrow. That's awesome. Lex Diaz, how you doing? Just so everybody knows, I am Pam. I am Pam. I'm 100% Pam. Big thank you tonight to T-Bone with a hat trick, Puck Elf, Aloha Dave, Freya, Charles, and W. Decker for the amazing super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store on our website, spacedoutradio.com. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Kira, that's still t-shirt weather. Low 70s. Oh, that's heaven. Heaven. I am Pam. Here we go, the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. We have him until the top of the hour here on the show. And Keith, thank you so much for being here. We're going to continue with our audience questions, starting with T-Bone, who is asking, you've probably answered this many a times, but what's your thoughts on the 20 and back program?
Well, sad to say, I have no idea what it is.
That's where these super soldiers, Keith, claim that they are recruited as children and then trained by the U.S. government over the years till they get to a certain age, and then they kind of disappear for 20 years, but then are brought back, almost like time warp back, like they haven't aged, to go fight battles over
number one,
or where.
The super soldier program is not an off-world invasion, is not an off-world expansion unit. It does exist, but it's actually designed for on Earth amongst humans. Does it happen? Absolutely, but they're not being brought back. They have some technology that is, to say the least, intriguing. What they end up doing with some of the kids is slowing their metabolism down so they literally don't age. Or one of the ways to do that is they dump them into a cryo reprogramming vat. So they hold them, they pump the brain full of extra garbage, and then they literally will force others to watch that happening in order to trigger the higher senses in the other people. And that's just one of the, shall we say, less invasive methods. But they're not for off-world fights. Mankind is not ready for an off-world war, contrary to mankind's belief. But no, the super soldier program, by the way, is not just in one country. Every major country that I know of has their own version of the super soldier program. Some of it is by mental reprogramming, some by genetic manipulation, some by trauma. Okay, depending on which faction you get and which country you're in, will determine which way they go. But is it a real thing? Absolutely. And just take my word for it. It's not one of those things you want to go.
All right, Keith, next question for you from Kira. Are many homeless people disguised observers of humans, possible ETs?
Some undoubtedly are, but no, the majority of them, of the homeless humans, are homeless humans. Okay, like undoubtedly, it's one of the easiest ways to drop an investigation in. But the massive majority are just people that are down on their luck.
All right.
You know,
Let's
you'll
continue.
find just as many that take up places like in libraries.
Super Crazy wants to know, do aliens like eating our fast food like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Arby's, or Tim Hortons, etc.? Taco Bell.
Well,
for
the
sure.
answer would be yes. I can say for certain. Well, I was going to say Dairy Queen. I know the Martokians love it.
Dairy Queen.
Because that was where I ran into my first Martokian, was serving him ice cream. And that was a weird setup. Martokians, by the way, are the natives of Mars.
Figured that. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Wildberry. How do you explain miracles?
The short answer is saying wherever you've seen a miracle, something happened that was beyond your ken. And thereby, because you don't understand it, you chalk it up to a miracle. Once science, see, the nice part is when science evolves enough to explain it, the miracle is no longer a miracle. It is simply a logical extrapolation of what's going on. You know, the weather used to be considered a miracle, as did flooding. Now mankind has figured out the science behind it. It's no longer a miracle. It's just scientific. It's just a natural event. And before somebody jumps on that, no, that doesn't mean the miracles don't happen. It just means that there's many things that occur that people don't understand.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to T-Bone. Have you heard about Dr. Gary Nolan working on a helmet insert to block ESP and special eye filter?
Heard of it myself, no, but it doesn't shock me that somebody's working on it. I don't follow any of the research programs that are going on. But I will tell you, to block true telepathy, a helmet won't do it. Okay, well, there is a way to do it, but they've got to modify they literally have to modify a number of different resonances in order to create enough static that a brain won't pick it up. But again, you get a strong enough brain and all the defense in the world won't matter.
All right, let's continue on, Keith. Let's go to Christine. Have you had a benevolent ET encounter that you can share with us?
Oh yeah. When I was pulled out of at 5 years old, I was actually rescued from a my lab setup by a Thrizosian. Now it was benevolent as far as the Thrizosian went to me. As far as the humans in the way, not so nice. Ultimately, what it boiled down to is my senses evolved beyond what the people in the my lab wanted them to, and they tried to terminate me. In a nutshell, why a young Thrizosian lass come out of a closet, took out four techs right off the bat. The first one she took out by literally removing the guy's chest plate, which wouldn't have been a bad thing if he had been wearing armor. But in a matter of 3 strokes, she'd wiped out 3 humans with her bare hands. And then collecting me up, took me off to her medics, and put me back together. Now, this has been as close to documented and corroborated by enough people that I don't even question it anymore. But ultimately, this is one of the reasons why I get along with them. But there's a lot more to that story.
Love it. All right, Keith. Continuing on, let's go to Steve. Are you familiar with the swimmers of Lake Baikal? Do they live there?
Well, I would have to start with the no, as in not familiar with who or what they are. Like I said, I don't do any research at all.
Okay, they are apparently creatures, almost mermaid-like, that have black bodies and iridescent blue fins. They have dome-shaped heads and big eyes, seemingly to be able to survive on both land and in water.
Oh, what some people would call Sagan. They're a
They're in Russia.
reptilian race. Yeah, they are another one, but they are not an off-world race. They're an ancient race. If I remember correctly, they essentially evolved from iguana. But do they live there? The answer is yes.
Let us go to another question. Super crazy again. Do aliens have telekinetic abilities? What about humans?
The answer to both of those would be some. It's not overly common, but some have developed it. Okay, I've run into humans with psychokinetic capacity, and I've certainly run into other races that have it. But it's not one of those things that's really really well developed anywhere that I'm aware of. Now, I would be inclined to say the Xenon probably, not the Zeron, the Xenon, probably have very well developed psychokinetic capacity. And I do know some of the Ennead did. Some of the Ennead still do.
All right, let's continue on. We have another question from Joe. When humans next land on the moon, will they discover some type of artifact and tell the world?
I sure as heck wouldn't hold my breath waiting for it. You know, that humans are not, you know, this idea that governments are going to come out and go, oh, look, we've been lying to you all this time, and here's something that's new. I don't see it happening via them. Do I feel they may well find something new over there? Probably. Are they going to tell humans? No. I would not hold my breath waiting for it.
Moving on. Let's say hello to Dino and his question. What do aliens use for recreation? Do they drink booze? Do they have a little reefer in the background?
Ironically enough, or intriguingly enough, I don't know. Literally, take a look at the variety of things that humans play, you know, or use for recreation, for distraction. Aliens, every one of the species, have their own variations. I know when I first went to the Consortium flagship, they play a game that is best described as zero-G wall ball. Whereas you're not bouncing off of one wall behind one group. You got 6 walls that you're bouncing off. And everybody's working in an anti-gravity system. You know, many of the reptilian races have a version of football, but the problem with it is you keep having to bring up new players because it's fatal. You know, you don't try and take the football away from the guy. You try and take the arm off and keep the ball in it. You know, humans have some wonderful pastimes, but it really is as varied as that. I mean, I like there's one race I saw playing a game of what would amount to tiddlywinks using flower petals. Now that's tricky.
All right, let's continue on, Keith. Let's go to Major Lee. Keith, is it a good idea to point a laser pointer at UFOs? Second part, How far does the laser pointer beam?
Well, let's start with the first part. In my opinion, I can't see it being, it's not a good idea. It's not a bad idea. As far as how far that beam is going to go, from orbit, certainly they can spot it. You know, some of their technology will spot it. Is it likely what is drawing drawing the off-worlders' attention to people to go, oh, I called him down with a laser pointer? The odds are what was called down was their intention was picked up on telepathic run or on mnemonic run, and they zeroed in on that individual, not because of the laser itself, but because of the intention behind it. But I do caution you, if you're doing that, be very clear on what you're aiming for. Because this genius idea of, oh, I just want to be abducted by somebody, this is tantamount to suicide. Because some of these guys will take you up, invite you for dinner, and you're the main course. Okay. Or there are those that will collect people up, and they do sell humans for zoological displays. This is not a contract thing. This is we got permission to go down here and, to look around, to do our investigation. And we stuck this guy off the planet. Because one human is not going to stand out that much.
Let's move on, Keith. Let's go over to Just Min. Are anal probes just a skit on South Park, or is it based on reality?
Technically, it's based on reality. How else are you going to possibly get the fluid from the colon without punching a hole somewhere else? So it's an easy access point. Basically, if you've got a hole, they can use it. Which probably sounds really bad when you think about it.
It does. Sounds horrible. But there's not much we can do.
No. Not really.
No.
Fortunately,
really.
most of them try and make things somewhat comfortable.
All right, let's continue on here. Super Crazy wants to know, how advanced are the spacecraft that humans currently make themselves? What are their true capabilities?
The ones that humans are making right now are short run, as in could get to Mars. Well, they've already gotten to Mars. They've already arrived at Mars, Io, and Titan. Okay. So they are already interplanetary capable. Okay. They are not combat capable. I mean, mankind does seem to think that, oh, we're very strong. You don't want to get into a war off planet. Because mankind is still using very low grade comparatively lasers to work with. And that's your better weapons, which are still extremely easy to disrupt. But we do have interplanetary capability.
All right, let's continue. And our next question comes from Mexico, where Aloha Dave is hanging out. Keith, do you use telepathy to communicate during your abductions?
Yes. It's a combination of telepathy and knowing what I've come to understand as Pangalactan, which, by simply put, is a combination of various different words, sounds, hand signals, this sort of thing. Because there are very few races that actually are built like humans. There are some, but the percentages are actually pretty minimal. In all fairness, a bipedal form with one mouth is a very limited way of communicating. but I'm what I call an uncontrolled telepath. In other words, quite often I can't tell if I'm actually hearing something somebody said, and I mean any race, or if I'm just picking it up. I've never been able to separate the two. What I do know is if you treat these people as though they're just people, they look a little different, they've got a different way of doing things, but they're just other people. You treat them that way, you'll get along a lot better.
All right, Keith, we got 3.5 minutes before we have to say goodnight to you. Let's go to Arcane. Are some UFOs organic life forms, and or what percentage of UFOs are just military craft due to reverse engineering or hidden knowledge about the true state of the physical world?
Well, we'll start with the first part. Yes, some alien craft are living life forms. Some are literally for instance, the Archon is literally an alien. They start off microscopic and grow to be the size of planet killers. Like they literally eat planets. That said, there is no way I can give you a percentage as far as what is out there that's mankind, that is man-made, and what is out there that is not. There's no way I can give you that, but I can tell you this. The massive majority of ships that you guys see are either off-world or ancient race built. There are not that many ships that mankind has successfully reverse engineered. But yes, they have reverse engineered a few. They have reverse engineered the triangle, the standard saucer, and the bubble saucer that the Martokians have. They have reverse engineered them. The problem is they have not reverse engineered them properly because they're still trying to make them work based on human physics. Doesn't work that well.
Right. All right, Keith, let us move on here and go. Let's see if we have any more here. One more from JSCO. If someone finds themselves unexpectedly confronted with any alien species, how should one act? What should you do?
Well, it depends on the species, quite frankly. But on the whole, do your best to look at them as though they are just other people. Yes, they look different, they've got different clothing. But if you treat them, if you follow karmic law, as in be true to yourself first, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. As long as you start on that level, you should be able to functionally get along with them. Understand, most of them are not actually there to hurt you. This doesn't mean that they won't hurt you, just not intentional. I've seen them like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, because I know we're winding down.
I'll quickly finish your comment. We got about 20 seconds.
If you look at the vegan have no pain center, so they have no understanding of anesthetic or anything like that to lessen your pain. So it's not intentional in their kind of part, but they will hurt you. Quite by accident while they're trying to figure things out. Thing you gotta remember is they are just normal people.
We got to wrap things up here. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We'll see you in Reno next week, my friend.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
Coming up next, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and UFO Court to finish it off. Hour 3 is next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Keith, thank you. Very much appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next.
Thank you
Talk
so
to you
much, Dave. Really appreciate it. Oh, absolutely.
Right. See you, buddy.
You have a good night.
Bye. R Keith Andrews, everybody. Be right back. All right. Hi, Noble Patrick. How you doing? All right. Bear with me. We got about 40 seconds. Thank you tonight to Aloha Dave, T-Bone with a hat trick, Puck Elf, Freya, Charles, and O.W. Decker for the amazing super chats. Very much appreciate your love and support of SOR tonight. And don't forget, you can shop, get some great swag at spacedoutradio.com. And we're going to get going here momentarily. Oh, and thank you, T-Bone, again. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate you earning our listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. We very much appreciate you listening in on our radio stations wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And we want to say to you that you can also use the password wisely. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Amanuensis. I'm going to butcher this one. Admanuensis. Yeah, whatever it is. The password is set by the Clam each and every night right here on SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It's that time of the night we say hello to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing on YouTube for another spooky story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. In the beautiful landscape of Kentucky's rolling hills and dense forests, there exists a location of fascination and marvel. Mammoth Cave is a natural wonder that has captivated people for centuries. The cave is a maze of intricate tunnels and grand chambers that seem to bring the earth to life. As you journey deeper into the cave, you'll feel transported to another realm. The air grows colder and the outside world sounds fade into the darkness. It's a place that makes you feel humble and fills you with a sense of admiration and enchantment. In this video, we'll explore Mammoth Cave's extensive history and some alleged paranormal encounters. Join me. Let's walk and see. Now, researchers have dated Mammoth Cave's rock beds to the Mississippian period, approximately 320 to 360 million years ago. However, the passages of Mammoth Cave did not start forming until about 10 or 15 million years ago during the Miocene epoch, when streams and rivers flowing over the surface allowed water to sink in and enter the rock beds through small cracks. At this time, the region was covered by a shallow sea, and sediment was deposited on the sea floor. Over time, the sediment was compressed and hardened into limestone. The area underwent uplift around 2.5 million years ago, exposing the limestone to the surface. Rainwater, slightly acidic due to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, began to dissolve the limestone, creating tiny cracks and fissures in the rock. Over time, these small cracks and fissures grew into more extensive passages as water flowed through the limestone, creating even more significant passages as they grew. This process is known as karstification. The cave system has many breathtaking geological formations, including stalactites and stalagmites. These formations are created over time as minerals like calcium carbonate accumulate from the water dripping from the cave's ceiling. The distinctive shapes of the cave are a testament to nature's incredible power and beauty. Some formations are so massive that they dwarf you, while others are small and fragile. As you delve deeper into the cave, you'll encounter many vast chambers. The rotunda is particularly impressive, with an enormous ceiling that seems to stretch on forever. Another noteworthy area is Gothic Avenue, where tall and narrow passageways branch into darkness, resembling the spokes of a wheel. Yet another impressive sight is the frozen Niagara Formation, which looks like a frozen waterfall. Delicate white strands cascade down the walls, creating a breathtaking sight. Yet another stunning formation is Crystal Lake, a shallow pool of turquoise water that reflects the surrounding formations like a mirror. Visiting Mammoth Cave National Park and Mammoth Cave itself offers a unique opportunity to explore a hidden world filled with rare and fascinating life forms, some exclusive to this location. Since the cave's entrances are few and far between, the animals that live inside have been cut off from the rest of the world for thousands of years. You'll spot bats hanging from the ceiling, tightly folding their wings around their bodies as they rest. In the underground rivers, blind cavefish swim with their white bodies almost glowing in the darkness. While the cave's fragile ecosystem requires visitors to take special precautions to avoid damaging the delicate environment, the chance to witness these amazing creatures in their natural habitat is an experience that is sure to leave a lasting impression.
And thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing for another spooky story tonight. If you want more just like that, all you got to do is go over to youtube.com/Among the Missing and check it on out today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. We'd really appreciate it because it helps everybody who's on a YouTube channel. All right, we're going to get to the UFO report right now.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
All right, we are going to be doing this on our own tonight because we cannot gain a connection. Something about connections tonight, as Nicole Sackich is having troubles getting hers going here, and that's just too bad. But hey, it is what it is. There is some UFO news that we want to pass on, and we'll also take your questions if you're in one of our chat rooms as well. If you're in one of our chat rooms, please do us a favor and put your questions in capital letters. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, she's the co-chair of the Congressional UAP Caucus. Well, she's back talking UFOs. On Ask a Poll, she was asked, any update on the House UAP hearings? She comes out and says, we are working on doing something with USOs, underwater submerged objects. So we're talking to some people, she stated. Another UAP caucus member confirmed to Ask a Poll, there's a Navy whistleblower who the Congressional UAP Caucus is in talks with about publicly testifying. Unclear if they are active duty or a veteran, and there is still no date set. This is something that we've been hearing now for the last couple of weeks, that there is going to be more hearings coming up on this. This comes on the heels of Senator Gillibrand, who informed Arrow, I'd like to have a public hearing this summer. We are considering reinstating our paywall. Oh, never mind. And hold on, where's this story here? Gillibrand basically saying, I let them know that I'd like to have a public hearing this summer, said Christian Gillibrand. And so he, the head of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, interim director Timothy Phillips, said that he's going to put together some data and information to disclose in a public hearing to show what work they've done, especially examples of things that were unknown that they've been able to figure out, and examples of things that were unknown that they still haven't figured out, so that the public can see the difference between what technology brings to this analysis to inform lawmakers on what we need to do. Arrow's declassified report seemed like case closed. You know, we all remember that, where said, oh, it's definitely not case closed. I think that their report was just that their analysis of everything they were shown and everyone they talked to, because they had no basis to say there's a secret program, Gillibrand said. But of note, the two whistleblowers that I've met did not meet with Arrow and refused to meet with Arrow. And so maybe the next director, they'll meet with them. but I can't assess them unless Arrow can talk to them, because I don't. I mean, Arrow knows what they know, what they've seen, and what they've been shown. This is where it gets a little bit interesting, because David Grush, as it comes out, has refused to meet with Arrow up until this point. And yes, this is a story that came out a couple weeks ago on the Black Vault, but up till today, it just came out on News Nation that he is literally refusing. Doesn't think that he's going to get a fair handshake when it comes to the story of UFOs. So, let's go to another story here. Here's an interesting one. Remember the gimbal video? Yeah, the gimbal UFO event still stands as a significant pillar of unidentified aerial phenomena disclosure, introducing UFO and U.S. military whistleblowers who claim to have witnessed the phenomena they described as non-human. In 2020, the U.S. Department of Defense released 3 pivotal UAP videos that triggered widespread discussions within the UFO community, prompting inquiries into the information held by the U.S. government regarding the phenomena. These videos captured UFO encounters from November 2004 and 2 separate incidents from January 2015, each identified by distinctive nicknames: FLIR, Go Fast, and Gimbal. FLIR is actually the Tic Tac. They depict pilots tracking unidentified objects in the sky. Among these, the renowned 2015 UFO gimbal footage was recorded by U.S. fighter pilots near the nuclear aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, as an unidentified object appeared on their radar. Despite the pilots mentioning there's a whole fleet of them, look on the SA, the footage only displays a single mysterious object at the center of the frame. Apart from Ryan Graves, former fighter pilot, there is another at least discussed whistleblower who experienced the famous gimbal event. Matthew Roberts, a former cryptologist of the U.S. Navy with 16 years of service, shared his experience and encounters with non-human entities during a Netflix series, Encounters. He was present on the USS Theodore Roosevelt in 2015 during an event involving the now famous gimbal footage. After going on several military missions and teaching others code expertise while working on land, Roberts moved to the Office of Naval Intelligence for 3 years. His time at ONI ended in March 2020, and that's when he chose to quit the military, even though he was close to retiring in 4 years. The reason for leaving was the intense and personal experiences he had with unidentified aerial phenomena while at ONI, which he writes about in his book named Initiated. Roberts described his initial reaction to the gimbal footage. I was watching this footage and I could see no kind of aviation surfaces that you would expect to see. No wings, tails, rudders. There was none of that. He struggled to comprehend the unconventional movement of the object, stating, I could really make sense of why this thing was kind of up in the air like it was. As he looked more closely into the video, Roberts realized something important. I knew it didn't belong to us or anyone else. So the only other possibility, I think, is that it's technology from non-human intelligence. Given his classified role and access to sensitive information, Roberts was aware that such encounters were not isolated incidents for the Navy. I was kind of aware that this was not a one-off event for the Navy, he stated. These things happen frequently, all the time, going against the wind. Roberts confessed to being captivated by the footage, watching it obsessively. Despite his access to classified information, he had no awareness of the actions taken by the upper chain of command concerning these encounters. Very interesting. So they just continue on. All right, let's see what we have for some audience questions here. Woo Rider saying, did you hear Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp say Kona Blue never even got off the ground running? Your thoughts? From what I'm hearing, Kona Blue struggled. And there was rumor that it did take off more privately than publicly. A lot of their information has been locked down. But everybody's sources right now seem to be telling a little bit of everything. See, that's the thing right now, is we are such in a information, misinformation mode right now within this subject that we really don't know. Because one group is saying, yeah, Kona Blue was extremely real. It was running. It's like the modern day version of Project Blue Book. But then we look at it and we say, well, the other side is saying it's not really happening. It's not really going on. Never really got off the ground. We leave it up to you. And that's the problem with sources right now, is we want to believe our sources. We want to believe that they are telling us the truth. And maybe there are two truths to it. Maybe one side knows that it's actually going on. The other side may not know at all. It's very tough to understand right now. Very tough to understand. We continue on with UFO Court tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My question is, what about these new hearings? Are you excited for these new hearings? Do you even want new hearings? I don't know if I really want them anymore. And let me explain why. Anything juicy that we want to know is going to remain top secret, which means it's going to be pushed behind doors into a skiff, which is on record for the politicians that are taking part in that. The rest of us get screwed once again. Yes, we may get little morsels of information that come out. It'll get us all excited. It'll light up UFO Twitter like the rockets red glaring from the U.S. national anthem and the bombs bursting in air. But I don't want that anymore. I'm tired of it. And I think that's probably what that side wants, is they want people like me to be tired of it. But we're not getting any information. It's going to anger the UFO community even more, which is maybe what they want. Remember those old sayings by certain people? Basically saying, we have to kill ufology. Yeah. I find it very, very shameless that we don't get information. And the worst part about it is you have these politicians out there. Doesn't matter whether it's Tim Burchett, Anna Luna, Matt Gaetz, anybody who's in this field. And it is bipartisan. Talking about the amazement of what is out there. But we never get to see it. You and me, as Jill and Joe public, never, ever get to see it. Stop talking about it then. Why continue to do these public hearings when you're not going to give any information to the public? Please tell me and explain to me how this is transparency on the UFO/UAP subject. Because to me, it's not really transparency. I want transparency where there's actual information. I want to know what is happening. Where are these encounters happening? How often are they happening? And not just on military bases, but around North America and the world for that matter. Now, I realize that the world is a tense place right now, and they don't really want to give us any information. Okay, they just don't. They're worried about the Russians listening in, the Chinese listening in, and granted, those are pretty good threats. But we're not getting the details of how many crash retrievals they have. And look, people who say it's coming, I wish you all the best. I wish I could see this subject through rose-colored sunglasses just like that. But the government doesn't care what you and I want, because if they did, we wouldn't see as much stupid and dumb as we see coming out of Washington, D.C. on a daily basis, or Ottawa, or London, or Paris, or any other country. It's frustrating, to say the least. It's totally frustrating. And each and one of our listeners who believes in this story should be frustrated as well. Yes, once again, we will get morsels. We may get a new whistleblower or two. But in the end, does it really matter? Because they don't want us to know, people. They really don't. And that's what I find frustrating. That's what I find so frustrating. Because we do deserve a right to know whether or not we're alone in the universe. We do deserve to know if this leads to understanding what this phenomenon is. Is it godly? Is it God himself? Is it something else we don't understand? Are we all alien hybrids that were dropped off of this planet long ago? We really don't think that we are going to be able to do this. They don't think we can handle it. And I've stated that for years. I don't think the public is ready to find out whether or not this is something worth pushing. I think that's why, for me at least, I'm fatigued by the story. Tired of the story. I'm tired of the bickering. I'm tired of everything that is going online, where people have really buckled down. People are arguing with each other. People are tearing each other down. And I'm just not playing that game. And this is why I also state the role of the experiencer is a lot more important than what many give it credit for. Because these people are at least trying to tell the truth on what happened to them and what they encountered. They're brave enough to do that. And they're not just doing it for 15 minutes of fame, to get on a podcast or two, or a radio show, or a YouTube channel. They're not doing it that way. They're doing it because they finally get comfortable in order to get their information out on their personal encounter. But don't think for a second that that's the plan all along. There's a lot of disclosure dollars behind the scenes that are going on, while the experiencers don't need a disclosure. They've already had their own. We tend to forget that. We are going to continue with audience questions here coming up on Spaced Out Radio in the final half hour as we continue on with UFO Court. All UFO questions coming up from our audience wherever you are listening in. My name is Dave Scott. I'm the guy behind the microphone of this awesome show we call Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for tuning us in tonight. The final half hour of tonight's show is coming up right after this. Stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
Just looking for some stuff here. And yes, I breathe loud because I struggle breathing in and out of my nose. All right. I need a favor from all of you, if you don't mind. James Rowe, welcome. There is no evidence, man. Proof and evidence, you're never going to get it. UFO Not, how you doing? I hope to win a jackpot. We'll see how it goes. Well, I need a favor from all of you. Yeah, Michael Gutierrez. It was an old hockey injury. It was called 3 fists right to my nose. Need a favor from all of you. Put some questions in the audience chat room in capital letters for me, so that way I can get to them. That ain't it. I'm tired of accepting all cookies. Just saying. Every time you go on a website, accept all of our cookies. I don't even know what the hell a cookie is. Yes, that is a mini Bigfoot right here. I'm going to put my alien up here soon. Hey, Tets, how you doing? Some great questions here, guys. Thank you. Thank you to our super chatters. Here we go with the final half hour coming up here in a few seconds. Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you for joining us as we talk some more UFO news on UFO Court. My name is Dave Scott. Glad to be here with you. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives. They're always free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on any major podcast network as well, like Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on UFO Court. David Grush, the whistleblower of ufology, the man that people treat as the next UFO god. Well, he is speaking at the gigantic New York SALT convention. Now, this connection for SALT is a major, major conference for business and technology. Goes into everything from investment to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, the markets and the market evaluation. It is, and they have speakers from all over the world, business people, university professors, and professionals in their field, from medicine to business aspects. Well, David Grush has been asked to speak at this year's event, which is going to be held very, very soon. His bio states, Mr. Grush spent 14 years in the U.S. intelligence community, both as an Air Force officer and a civilian, culminating as a senior requirements officer, GS-15, at U.S. Space Command with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Additionally, Mr. Grush has served overseas in Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Qatar, and South Korea, and is a highly decorated combat veteran. Mr. Grush holds a bachelor's degree in physics and a master's degree in intelligence studies. He is currently in graduate school for his master's in public administration. In 2022, Mr. Grush became the first federal whistleblower in U.S. history to file a complaint with the United States Intelligence Community Inspector General regarding executive branch concealment of unidentified anomalous phenomena crash retrieval programs from Congress. So what do you think Mr. Grush is going to be talking about? UFOs, anybody? Did we see this one coming on our bingo card? I would say that's par for the course. It really is par for the course. Look, there's a lot of people who want to get into this. And look, whether you want to believe it or not, and this will get into my next topic of grifting. Whether you want to believe it or not, money and dollar signs within the UFO community is coming. And it's not a couple million here or 22 million there like Robert Bigelow got back in the early 2000s, where he bought into Skinwalker Ranch and everything in between. No, we're talking billions of dollars here. Billions of dollars, which we like to call around here disclosure for dollars. The threat narrative is going to be very, very powerful for radar, for sensors, for satellites, anything that can mildly attract any sort of anomalous phenomena within our airspace. And in this case, more so the United States. Canada, where I am, is a little bit different. Not much, but a little bit different. And this is where things get a little randy. Why would David Grush speak at this conference? Well, there's a lot of people saying he's doing it for the paycheck. Could be. And that's something I want to touch on. Whether you like David Grush or not, whether you're a believer of him or not, or you believe in people who are writing books or not in this subject, There's this term that gets thrown around very loosely over the last couple of years within the UFO community, especially, called grifting. This is where you're allegedly making up stories and collecting stories and encounters and using your position of knowledge within the field to make money off of it. Some people do it through books. Some people do it through conferences. Some people do it through YouTube channels or whatever it may be. Now, to be upfront, Spaced Out Radio is a legalized business. We are. Are we doing this for dollars? No. We just love being on the radio. Radio is fun. We also love our YouTube audience, our Twitch audience, our X audience, our Instagram audience, Facebook audience, our LinkedIn audience. But here's the thing. When it comes down to it, really, what is grifting? I think it's a very murky term that people are using because they think people are taking advantage of those within the community. And I'm not a big fan at all of people complaining in this community that somebody is making a buck or two. Now, some are making hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. But you know what? Time isn't free. And if you are out there complaining about grifting, yet here you are accepting monetization on your YouTube channel. Maybe you've monetized Facebook, or you're accepting super chats. Doesn't that make you a grifter too? But they always seem to use the excuse, look, I'm not asking for people to pay me. They just give me a donation. Bullcrap. Bullcrap. Time and travel are not free. It takes a lot out of your day. When I was in Nebraska last week, it took me 50 some hours to get to Nebraska. No word of a lie. I was a zombie because I only literally slept for about 6 or 7 hours, and 3 of those were on a plane. 4 in a hotel room. It was terrible. I had to take a couple nights off this show, which is one of my jobs. And when you take nights off and you're self-employed, guess what? You lose money. You do. Some people, their talent is putting their information of their research into books like Grant Cameron. What's wrong with that? Do we not need authors? Well, you're spinning false information. Okay, that's your opinion. We seem to hear a lot of this lately. I find it very uncomfortable. I really do. Here's the one thing I do know about people within this community. And I look at my own audience as well on this. Okay? People have a choice of whether to support or not support what they like. That's the truth. Example. My ghost tour gave away 2 free tickets to a couple of local charities here. Does that mean we're grifting for attention because we gave away 2 free tours, or that we're charging for a tour for a paranormal expedition to help raise money for the museum that is nonprofit? Is that grifting? The hypersensitive would say yes. The rational, common sense thinker would say, great job at volunteering to to do things to help raise money for this cause, which is keeping the museum afloat. Last year, we donated over $10,000 to the museum. We were their biggest donor. Is that grifting? No, we work for it. We take time out of our day where we could be watching sports highlights, putting our kids to bed, helping with homework, cleaning up the dishes, folding laundry, to come over here and broadcast what we can for you guys. But for some reason in the UFO community, people get offended by anybody who makes a living doing what they love. Okay? Doing what they love. And this is what I don't understand. Why are you not allowed to make a living doing what you love? For all the golfers out there, if you could honestly make a living playing on the PGA Tour, would you? If somebody came up to you and said, hey, you could make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year playing on the professional mini golf tour, and believe it or not, there is one, or the cornhole tour, or somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I want to sponsor your YouTube channel. Is that grifting? Because according to the hypersensitives, it is. And this is what I don't get. We're pushing for information. We're all pushing for the same area, the same subject, because we're all fans of it. But we continually eat our own. I don't mind David Grush speaking at the SALT conference. I think it's a good thing. The more he talks, the better chance we get of having information. And I even see it in our own chat room, including tonight, somebody saying, there's no evidence, there's no proof. And once again, as I repeat all the time, what is proof? What is that empirical evidence that you need? What is that? What's it all about? Because you already know the government isn't going to release any full-on videos of color, which these FA-18 Hornets have in cameras. We're going to get the grainy head-up display videos that we've seen. They aren't going to give us any sort of crash retrieval. They're not going to open up the doors to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base or Area 51 to say, hey, everybody, this is the alien craft that crashed here at Roswell in 1947. They aren't going to do that. They're not. So what is proof? Most people today will not accept a video unless they've filmed it themselves. Most people are not going to accept photographs anymore because of Photoshop. We aren't accepting anything to do with audio because it can be easily edited. The government is never going to come out and say, hey, America, we've got aliens. They're not going to do that. So what is proof? And anybody who is digging for that proof, whether it's John Greenwald from the Black Vault, whether it's Grant Cameron, whether it's Richard Dolan, whether it's Danny Silva, whether it's the million podcasts and YouTube channels on this subject, we're hoping to get morsels. We're dreaming about morsels. This isn't about like the NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA, or NFL trade deadline or draft, where we have weeks and months of buildup and anticipation. in between seasons to figure out what is going on and what our team is going to do. And for the people complaining about grifting, every sports team out there is a grifter by your standards. So every time you are wearing that Dallas Cowboys hat, that New York Yankees jersey, that Indiana Pacers tank top, your Michael Jordan Nike Air Jordan shoes, you're grifting. Those companies are grifting for your dollars. That's what it is. If you're spending $300 plus on a hockey jersey of your favorite team, because that's literally what they are going by. Why are you doing that? Because they're grifting for your money. That's why you see the NBA teams have 5 different jerseys they will wear during the season. Hockey teams are coming just as bad, where they're putting out 8 or 9 different jerseys a year. We see football teams doing it. Look at Oregon State, the Ducks there, for instance, the home of Nike headquarters, where they have literally about 8 different jerseys they could choose from and helmets. And they're all grifting for your dollars that you'll spend because of your passion and love for that team. Why don't we call them out? No, I don't buy the whole grifting thing. If I get invited to a conference and they're going to pay me a speaker's fee, guess what? My time is worth something. And if they want me to come down to wherever, like in Nebraska, they want me to come down, I need my flight paid for. I need my accommodations taken care of. Maybe a meal or two. That's what it's all about. We got to end the grifting argument. We know there's going to be a huge problem with disclosure for dollars. We know that there is going to be a huge, huge amount of money that is coming into this field. And it is going to go to all the alphabet agencies to hold this story back from us on UFOs. We know it's coming. It's already started. And yet we're worried about somebody making a couple $100 off a conference. Maybe not in David Grush's place. It's probably in the tens of thousands. Okay. But for the rest of us out there that go to a conference, a Bigfoot conference or Contact in the Desert, you're paying $300-$400 a ticket because they have to get the speakers there for you. They have to pay their way, pay their flights from all around North America and the world. Let's get to an audience question here. So we've got a couple minutes left. Let's go to Joe here. Dave, in the times that you saw aliens, did you see a craft? And can you describe it? I never saw a craft when I saw aliens. Closest one would have been last summer, where I saw the craft. I didn't see the aliens. The rest of the team saw the aliens, but not the craft. How weird is that? We're literally 10 feet apart, maybe 20 feet, if that. Never saw the craft and never saw the aliens. How weird. All right, Michael is asking, does the government track everyone that gets abducted? See, that's one of those questions, Michael, that we need to find out. I believe that answer is in this UFO Pandora's box somewhere deep in the Pentagon, where they hide the story of Bob Lazar, where they hide the story of ATIP, where they hide the story of crash retrievals, what happened at Roswell, and everything in between. I don't believe they're knowing everybody who's getting taken, but I think they have a good gist of many people who are. Lawsuits, that's another reason why you'll never see disclosure. Because if your name's on that list, can you sue? That your government knew you were being taken by aliens, but never, ever told you about it? All right, let's see if we can sneak in one more here. Let's go to Woo Rider. Dave, do you think the military is abducting humans to replicate and observe human response to better understand alien abductions? That kind of ties into the question we just had. There are many people who believe they're having my lab encounters or military abduction encounters, being taken to underground bases or inside mountains. How far does it go, though? I have no idea. That's a question to ask for the experiencers themselves. But I think, for the most part, these people are doing it without actually contacting aliens, but using aliens as a facade. That's what I think. I want to say thank you to our audience for a great night of broadcasting here on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to R Keith Andrews and taking all the great questions from our audience tonight. It really is fantastic. Really is fantastic. Thank you for your participation as well in listening into the show. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. As we say hello, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
don't make a mistake. We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Have a good one. Go Warriors. All right. Great show, everybody. Good job. You should all be proud. We had a good one tonight. All right. Thank you to Black Dragon. T-Bone going haywire on the super chats tonight. Thank you. Aloha Dave, Puck Elf, W. Decker, Charles Kerr, and Freya Baby. Appreciate the love, everybody. Appreciate the love. It's all about the love. Let's see if I can get that. I'm trying to figure out how to get that Bigfoot light lit up. Hold on. See if this will work. Oh, it's still not picking up. Is that going to work? I go like that. No. No. It's not working. Hold on. Weird. Because inside here, there's actually a Sasquatch. See if I change the colors. That's green. There's actually a Sasquatch inside here. I just wish you could see it. Blue work? There. You can kind of see it there. T-Bone again. What did I do to deserve this from you tonight, man? Thank you. You're way too kind. Oh, well. Let's keep it a little dark in here. And yes, my little Sasquatch right here. It does look good in there. It's easier on the eyes, that's for sure. Totally easier on the eyes. Come on. Where are you? Like that. Oh, that ain't it. Sam Hill. There we go. So weird. There we be. Hi, Mentira. Aaron Bacca. The original Aaron. Like this. Load that up. Oh, fuck off. Pardon my language. Piss off, people. Seriously. Not you guys, but just talking about technology and the scum emails I keep getting. Scam emails, not scum. Apparently, there is UFO sightings being seen over northeast and southeast of Fresno. One. All right, everybody. I'm going to say good night here because I got to do some editing. My throat is killing me from talking all night. Big thank you tonight to Freya. T-Bone times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Black Dragon, thank you very much for the love. Good to see you again. Puck Elf, W. Decker, and Charles. I will see you on Monday, where my guest will be Jeff Woolwine, talking about Arizona UFOs. And that'll be fun. Be very fun. And this weekend, Sweet Robbie G is in the hot seat. Then Sunday, right before Sweets, Jessica Jones, Cryptid Huntress. The following weekend, because we are in Reno, there will be no shows. I'm sure Rob can set up some replays for you guys, because old Davey doesn't know how, and Rob's kind of like a guru when it comes to that stuff. So I will see you guys all on Monday, everybody. Much love to you. You all take care. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you soon.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.